Before we watched TV shows and movies on Narcos, and even before Pablo Escobar's rise to fame, there was one man who was the ultimate narco. He lived the narco life of greed, money, and power, but found a way to reclaim his life and use his astonishing experiences to empower others to live a life of hope, meaning, and redemption. Welcome to the Narco Mindset Podcast, where Dr. Jorge Valdes shares his journey through life before and after the Medellin drug cartel, from torture and multiple prison sentences to how he refocused his life onto a path of principles learned as a narco. It's time to share that raw truth with you, right here on the Narco Mindset Podcast, with your host, Dr. Jorge Valdes.
Today on the Narco Mindset Podcast, we have a constitutional right that protects us, but doesn't give us the right to abuse it. I'm not a fan of the president, but the day he got elected, he became my president. That our fate is interlinked to each other's fate. Yes, when we instill fear, don't give us a false sense of hope, but give us hope and we will adapt. Do not fear. Be concerned. Be responsible. This is a time for us to focus on truly what really is important in our lives. America needs hope. Welcome to the Narco Mindset Podcast. In today's episode, I want to talk about the wisdom of the Founding Fathers and really what the Founding Fathers intended with their First and Second Amendment. And what I believe in today's world, we are actually using some amendments that were amazing, giving us individuals tremendous rights to abuse them. What do I mean by that? Let's talk about the situation with the coronavirus that's afflicting all of America. You know, in the First Amendment of the Constitution, we have what's called freedom of the press and freedom of speech. Second Amendment, we have the right to bear arms. How can I tell that both of them have the potential of being seriously abused? So let's talk about the first one. So the First Amendment was amazing because a lot of our nation, a lot of the people that came into America were running away from religious persecution. They were running away from countries where really they could not express their opinion or worship God the way that they wanted to, the way that my family did when they left Cuba. So our Founding Fathers gave us the First Amendment. But how do we get it abused? Even though it is a constitutional right, we have a constitutional right that protects us, but doesn't give us the right to abuse it. What I mean by that? As we look at the press coverage today on the coronavirus, and we look at most of the media today, we have two total opposing viewpoints. Number one, we have the liberal media that's constantly scaring the daylights out of people. I think it's critical to let the world know that we have to be socially conscious. It is critical to let the world know that if we do something that is not right, that we can hurt not only our loved ones, but that we can also, in fact, hurt many, many innocent people. But where do you draw the line between telling the people what needs to be done and all that we do is present, a world of gloom and a world coming to an end? It is not misery enough that many, many people in this country are suffering from the ability of how they're going to feed their family tomorrow. Are they going to be able to keep the roof over their head? Are they going to lose their vehicles? What are they going to do with the fact that they have no work? And will they ever have work? That in itself is enough to scare people. So when I look at the media constantly telling us about the death and constantly telling us about the people afflicted with the virus, why don't they tell us about the win? Why don't they tell us about the victories? Why don't they tell us about the good that the government is doing? So then we see reporters constantly badgering and trying to prick the president, knowing that he's going to be quick to respond and knowing that he takes a lot of things personally. And therefore, are they really interested in wondering what is he doing to help our nation? Or are they more interested in trying to figure out how they can catch him to make sure that he looks like a fool? Well, you know what? And I've said it over and over again. I'm not a fan of the president as a person only because of the things that he has said. But the day he got elected, even though I did not vote for him or vote for the other party, the day he got elected, he became my president. My job was simply to pray for him because God gave me enough intelligence to realize that in essence, his success will be my success. His failure will be my failure. So instead of badgering the man constantly and asking him stupid questions, not wondering or not wanting to educate the people, but to go ahead and create fear, to create doubt that our government is doing all that they can. Listen, no matter what type of a human being our president is, I guarantee you, every human being on this earth cares about our people. And I know this president cares about his people, and he wants to do the best that he can for America. Maybe he doesn't express it the way I would like it. I would like nicknames given to people. I would like him to ignore 90% of the questions and attacks upon him because they've happened to every president in history. But that's not my say-so. We are right now at a time when we realize that our fate is interlinked to each other's fate. So what did I decide to do? I decided to turn off that channel, which did nothing but try to scare me, or go to the other channel that did nothing but give me false hopes. And then I went to CNBC. Why? Number one, it's a business channel, but number two, it presents the facts as they are without criticizing people's efforts. And it spends a lot of time giving people hope by showing companies that are doing all they can to fight this virus, by presenting investors that, yes, they're scared, they've never encountered anything like that in history, but at the same time that they're hopeful that our country will be back, the jobs will be back, the people will be able to live and enjoy their freedom as we have for many, many years. So you take the First Amendment where we have freedom of speech, but it doesn't give us the right to use that First Amendment to scare the living daylights out of human beings that are already scared and are already wondering how they're going to live their lives. Instead, why don't we use the freedom of speech to go ahead and encourage people instead of pointing out to anything the president might have done wrong that is insignificant? Because damn it, we don't live in the past. If we continue to worry whether we were a week too late or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whether we thought that this was a joke or not a joke, it doesn't make a damn difference to anybody. It doesn't correct the situation. It doesn't make us any safer. It doesn't make us any healthier. It doesn't get us back to work. It doesn't get us back to a normal life. Let's focus on highlight the good he's done. Why don't we do that? I never ever seen any of those media, especially like CNN or MSNBC, talk about that. It's all about the world's coming to an end. He's an idiot and he doesn't know what he's doing. And really in reality, we're going to come before God one day and we're going to be judged because as a Christian, the Bible tells me I am to pray for my leaders. And that's what I do. So instead of using the First Amendment to instill fear in people, to make someone look like an idiot, I consider that irresponsible. No, I don't think the First Amendment needs to be changed to make accommodations for that. No, we as a nation, we the people that enjoy that amendment are the ones that need to be responsible. Same with the Second Amendment. Gives us a right to bear arms. It gives us a right to defend ourselves. But does it give us a right to use that privilege and that freedom to kill people? Does it give us a right to have firearms in the hands of people that have mental illness? My God, if you can't fly because you're in a no-fly list, why should you own a gun? Listen, I had many, many guns. I used to love Uzis. It's been right now since 1990 that I have not used a firearm. Well, before, I relied on my firearms to protect me from so many people that wanted to kill me. Today, for me, it might be stupid and simple, but I rely on God to protect me. So therefore, I don't have a firearm in my home. Number one, by law, I cannot have one. But even if I could, I would not have one because it just gives you a false sense of security. Now, for those that believe that they needed to protect their families, good for them. I respect that. For those that love hunting, I have friends, dear friends that love hunting. I respect that. I just don't enjoy getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, hiding in some bush, waiting for an animal to come by. So it doesn't do much for me, but I respect them and they should have that right. And no government should interfere with that right. But what I'm getting at is that we have amazing rights given to us by our founding fathers that instead of us using those rights to help people and to enjoy our freedom and our liberty, we use that right to hurt people. Yes, when we instill fear on many that are fearful already. Yes, when we take a nation that is so right now confused, that is so wondering not what's going to happen to the stock market. 85% of the people don't even own a stock. But what's going to happen to their livelihood? How are they going to support their family? How are they going to feed their children? What happens if their children get hurt? Can they even take them to a hospital right now? Because most hospitals won't even take you unless you're sickly ill. What happens to so many things? My God, we live in a world with so many challenges today that I urge the media to be responsible. Don't give us a false sense of hope, but give us hope. You know, somebody said to me, but the president lies all the time. I said, well, you know what? Right now, this moment in time in my life, I want him to lie more than he's ever lied before. Why? Because if he lies to me that the world is going to be wonderful, that everything is going to be just great in 2 weeks, and it's not, I didn't lose a damn thing. But if all I hear is that the world's coming to an end, that people are dying, and this is a horrific virus, look, not to diminish that this is a horrific virus, but let's talk about something. Why are we not so alarmed over the 70,000 good Americans that will die every year to a drug overdose. And that's just a drug overdose. How about the 150,000 that will die with drug-related deaths? Why are we not in arms? Why is it okay? Because we just don't give a damn. But the truth of the matter, we should give a damn because this is our blood. And it could happen to one of our children. It could happen to one of our relatives, to one of our dear friends. Nobody's immune. Don't think that because people look all right, that they're all right. There's a whole world of pain out there. There's a lot of people suffering. Listen, before the virus came, there was a lot of turmoil on this earth. You know, the government shutdown taught us that 85% of Americans have less than $400 in savings. When I owned the company to do disaster restoration, and we used to go to large catastrophe, and people say to me, well, those people are stupid. They shouldn't have stayed home. They should have left. I said, that's easily said when you have money to put a whole tank of gas and go to a hotel room. But the reality of life is that many people never put a whole tank of gas. They can't afford it. They buy $3 and $4 of gasoline. And where the hell are they going to go? So what choice are they left? To pray and face death, if that is the case. Because the truth of the matter is, there's just no way for them to get out. They can't walk fast enough. And where do they go? So therefore, they're just left behind in their house. So there's a lot of people like that already in America. And when I see the media telling us all of these horrors, it's because the truth of the matter is that if it bleeds, it reads, number one. And number two, the truth of the matter is that most of those people are wealthy. They don't have to worry. So the stock exchange dropped. Look, I'll be honest and transparent with you. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of my hard-earned investments with this virus. And for a day, I really felt that I was about to get depressed when all of a sudden I said to myself, what an idiot. Why were you not depressed the day you forfeited over $50 million and went into a prison, not knowing if you were going to see your father die or not, not knowing if you were going to see your children graduate from school or not, not knowing anything in life with no money at all to go into a cell 4x8? Why was I not depressed? I was not depressed because for the longest time, I just became a Christian. I began to rely that God would never give me more than I could handle. Well, I had to wake up. I had to repent. And I had to realize, my God, I lost investments, but I still have my car. I lost a lot of investments, but I have my health to work. I lost a lot of investments, but I have a roof over my head that no one can take. So instead of focusing on what I lost, I needed to focus on, number one, who gave me what I have, and number two, what I have. And to thank God for that, because no matter how bad things are, you know, think about this. There's people right now that have been living in the streets for years and years and years. Snow, cold. A lot of them die during the influenza because they get pneumonia and they have no access to medical help. How many people live in the slums of India, in Africa, in those countries that don't even have the ability to buy a gallon of milk for their children? We have been so blessed. What we have lost is nothing compared to what the world even owns. Most of the world doesn't own anything. Most of the world are just surviving and struggling day to day. So we should not be so ungrateful. And I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to you or anybody else. I'm talking to myself. And I had to realize that this was a reset. The world is different now. It's not that the world's going to be different. The world is different now. But that doesn't make it worse. That doesn't make it worse by no means. Different doesn't equate to bad. Different means that we are amazing human beings created by an amazing creator that gives us the ability to adaptation. And we will adapt and we will change and we will become better. Perhaps this is a time for us to be closer to our families. This is a time for us to focus on truly what really is important in our lives. This is a time to realize that our life is nothing but a fleeting moment. It's a whisper in time. We're here today and we're gone tomorrow. So my dear friends, I'm here to tell you, as we look at these two amazing amendments that God gave us, Amendment number 1 and Amendment number 2 of our United States Constitution, let us not abuse them. And how do we stop the media? How do we stop them from doing this? Real simple. Turn them off. The day they realize that no one wants to listen to their bullshit anymore, then you know what? They'll change their programming. And I'm not here to tell you that everything they do is bad. No, by no means. They educate us. You know, the team the president has put together is amazing. I love to hear Dr. Fauci because he tells you the way it is. He doesn't sugarcoat it. But at the same time, just like he said yesterday, there's signs of hope. Tell me about the wins in life. You know, it's like raising a child. If all you tell the child is all that he does wrong, he's going to become a very insecure and very hateful child, very unloving. But if you correct the child's behavior with love, and you tell him that what he's done wrong in love, and you tell him a lot of times what he's done right, it'll be a different child. It'll be a child that believes that he can conquer anything, that he can achieve anything this world has to give. We just cannot point out to the negative and not the positive. Give me some wins. Give me hope. America needs hope. If the media is responsible, they need to give the people hope. And listen, giving people hope does not mean, hey, everything is okay, go out and party, socialize, gather. No, it doesn't mean that by no means. It just means that, you know what? If you do what is right, you wash your hands as you're told, you stay away 6 feet away from people, and you stay in your homes unless you need to seek medical services or unless you need to go get food, then you have hope. Then there's hope that we will win this, because we will win this virus. Listen, this is the new war. As we look at this virus, we better realize one thing. This will be the new war. This will be the wars the United States government will fight for years and years to come. Nobody's going to drop a nuclear weapon or a nuclear bomb. It wipes out the whole world. And if you want to conquer a country, why would you want to wipe it out? So at the end of the day, we can have all the nuclear weapons in the world. No one's going to use one. I am certain of that. But you know what? The enemy, those countries that hate us, Iran, Russia, and others, you know what they discovered? That they can bring America to its knees with a bioweapon. Think about that. They've discovered how petrified we become, how scary we become. And for those that are not scared, how insensible other group of people can become. How little some people don't care nothing about anybody else and will not listen to the guidelines. And to those that do care, but are so scared to death that they can't sleep at night because we're constantly being told the world's coming to an end. As it relates to the Second Amendment, let's enjoy the freedom that it brings. But let's use it sensibly and let's pass laws that make sense. No American needs to have a weapon of mass destruction. Listen, why do you think that when I was in the cartel, we owned thousands of Uzis? None of those people that were hired to protect us or those people that were hired to kill people, none of them were sharpshooters. None of them took gun training, but they knew that they would just hold on to that trigger and swipe left to right, and they will hit somebody and kill somebody. So they have one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to maim and to kill human beings. I never seen anyone go hunting with an assault rifle. I never seen anyone go hunting with a Uzi submachine gun. Use a rifle, use a gun, use a bow and arrow. If it's a sport, make it a sport. If it's not a sport, then what right have you to use that weapon and to own that weapon? I'm not saying that the government should come in there and take all of our weapons, or the government should come in there and suddenly change the freedom of the press. No. We have constitutional rights given to us by our forefathers that were the most amazing, intelligent people with a tremendous forevision. What it means is that we as citizens need to help each other to become responsible. Responsible in how we present the news to people. Responsible in how we handle our weapons. Responsible in how we use and take advantage and enjoy all those constitutional rights given to us by our forefathers. That's what it means. I don't like government intervention. I don't like government intervening in many things. And though from now on, in our new world, we're going to realize the government is going to take a bigger part. And the interesting thing about that is that we become a country so dependent upon our government. Private enterprise cannot fix the problem when something like this happens. When something that paralyzes the entire world, not one country, not two countries, but the entire world. And when we see that there's nothing that we can do, then you know what? That becomes the new weapon of warfare. So we will fight these viruses for years to come. It will be the new norm. Our ingenuity, our engineering, and the amazing talent that our country and the world has will come up with vaccines to help us prevent this. But during this time, my final message is be not afraid. Do not fear. Be concerned, be responsible, but do not fear and have hope. For me as a Christian, there is hope that there's a God who loves me and never going to give me more than I can handle. And for others, whoever their God might be or not, there's hope that our government will do what is right, that our president is trying his hardest. He doesn't wake up in the morning and decide he's just going to hurt you. I guarantee you he barely sleeps. And if you think you can do better, then why don't you try doing better by helping the public, by telling people that there is a tomorrow. We've overcome wars, we've overcome depression, we've overcome market crashes, we've overcome so many things. And the interesting thing is we always come out better. We will come out better from this, but this will be the new world order. The world has changed. We need to change with it. But let's not be afraid. Let's have hope that things will always will be better. And for me, my hope is that Jesus always wins. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
We've come to the conclusion of this episode of the Narco Mindset podcast, but your path towards hope, meaning, and redemption continues. For more information and resources to help you on your path towards finding a life built on integrity, honor, and truth, head to JorgeValdesPh.D.com and join our community. We appreciate you joining us for this episode and look forward to helping you find your turning point right here on the Narco Mindset Podcast.